It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Thanks for showing up here. Really cool. My name is Johannes, and I'm working for Tomorrow. We have the mission to educate and empower the change makers of tomorrow. So we offer master, bachelor degrees, and so on. And I also have a personal mission, and I'm going to talk about personal missions a lot now, today, here on the stage. And my personal mission is to accelerate the transition to a sustainable society through entrepreneurship. So this sounds great, yeah, but what does that actually mean? And I'm going to take you on a little journey now. Hopefully we could even make it a workshop here, like we looking at the amount of people that we have here. And I hope that you go out of this and understand and think about your own mission, yeah, and why that is important. So I'm going to start with this beautiful graph here, 3 bars, and it represents the results of a study that has been made with tens of thousands of employees. And these people had to answer the question how aligned they are with the values of the company they work for. And turns out that there were 3 types of answers. One is they are actively engaged, they really support what the company wants. Second is they are disengaged. And third is they are actively disengaged. That means that they do not even, that they basically work against the values that the company actually represents. And the sad thing about this is that the largest bar here is actually the one where people are disengaged. Yeah? So the smallest one, 13%, are actively in line with what the company wants, and the rest is disengaged. And that's actually quite a sad thing to know, and also something that needs to change, in my opinion, and something that can also accelerate the way we look at people and where they should actually be. So, if we look at what we actually want to achieve personally, we can use a few frameworks. One being the beautiful hedgehog concept that has been invented by Jim Collins, originally for identifying if companies, what differentiates companies between being good and being actually super great. And it has 3 different topics. One is passion, one is proficiency, and one is profit. And passion is easy to understand. Yeah? What am I passionate about? What do I like? Where do I feel well while doing it? Second one, proficiency, where am I good at? So you can ask yourself, okay, what is actually something where I'm talented in? And then the third intersection is the one that is most difficult for most people. That is, where is the intersection with my passion, my proficiency, where I can actually make a living from, yeah? Where I can make money. And apparently, according to the study I showed before, many people struggle with that. Yeah? And then there's another concept I would like to quickly show you, that is the big leap. And here we're looking at how talented are you in a certain area, and in the other, how much time should you spend there. And it is relatively straightforward to say, okay, there's this zone of incompetence where you are not good at, so you should not spend lots of time there. There is a zone on the bottom right, the zone of competence, yeah, where you are talented, but where you are not better than anybody else. Yeah? So actually it would make sense to not spend too much time there. And then there's the zone of excellence, which is on the top left, where you are actually good at and where usually you spend most of your time. The question is, why do you? Yeah? Most of the time, you are good at this because you've been doing this for quite some time. But it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you are very talented at it. And what is, I think, a very good exercise to think about is what is, and this is this zone of genius, yeah, what is this zone of genius of mine where I am talented and where I should spend most of my time in? Yeah? And if you think about that, then you have a good basis for identifying your own mission. So one is asking, what are you incredibly good at? Second, where do you think the world needs to change? So what is actually a topic that I want to tackle, that I want to work on? What is my purpose? and where can I contribute most towards this problem? And once we answer this question, most people will figure out that they actually want to do good. Yeah? So we all want to be good people. And I personally believe that if we align what we actually want to do with our careers, then this has huge potential for positive change in society, because then we actually act according to what we believe in. Now, as I mentioned before, sometimes it seems to be difficult to align your personal passion, competence with something that you can actually make money from. And I believe that in the past 10 to 20 years, there has been a huge change regarding that. Because while before you always had kind of to decide, either I do good, I work for a social cause and somehow make a living, or I go into a business and make money. Nowadays, this has changed. Yeah? So we have actually an integration of business and sustainable practices, and the market for sustainable companies is huge. For social investing alone, we have a market of 700 billion. So there is actually enough to do, yeah? And there's also enough challenges to do, and we just need to figure out where is our place in that. That's the big challenge. Now it's going to get a bit complicated. Yeah? I'm going to take you on a little, let's say, journey on the history of thought, because what is the reason why this market for social investing and generally for the social economy has risen so fast? It's the market economy. But we all know that the market economy is also part of the problem, right? So we have kind of an issue, and I do believe that this issue lies in the way the market economy has been conceptualized in the beginning. Yeah? So we have this beautiful guy here, Adam Smith, who had this concept. Oh, this is a beautiful emoji here as well, I see. Of the invisible hand. Who knows the invisible hand? Yeah, I see lots of invisible hands. So that's basically the idea that if everybody acts according to their own interest, the common good will be increased. That's what this guy thought. Yeah. Now it turns out 200 years later, apparently this is not really true. Yeah. So why is that? And he actually wrote another book that had the beautiful title Theory of Moral Sentiments. Super nice. And here he was thinking about what is the concept of mankind, basically. Yeah? How is mankind shaped? And it turns out that he actually thought people are good people. They are always good people. So this whole concept of capitalism, market economy, and so on is based on this actually false assumption that we are all good people. Yeah? Now, this has been 200 years ago, so he was a good economist, but apparently not a good, let's say, psychologist. But we have this guy as well. He's called Jean-Paul Sartre, and he famously said, "We are our choices." So what does it mean? Basically, we have our destiny in our own hands. Yeah? And I do believe that this is something that is super important for us to realize. Yeah? We are neither good or bad. We are what we decide to be. Yeah? And now I'm closing the loop a bit towards the idea why mission identification is so important. Because I do believe that if you think about what is actually my mission, you will realize that you want to do good in the world. Yeah? Whatever that may be, your definition of good. And if you realize that, that is the first step towards actually also acting towards that, yeah? And doing the next steps to act according to your mission. So, amazing future ahead, yeah? As long as we choose right, the market is there, the opportunities are there, and this is the interesting part, referring back to the beginning of the speech, 85% of the people actually are not in line with what their companies are doing. So they should better set up their own mission, right, to figure out what they're going to do. And here we have a huge potential of people who can accelerate the transition to a sustainable society. A few pro tips at the end. So let's say you have identified your mission, yeah? You know exactly what you want, and of course, in the end, this is not going to be like everything is going to be good. Yeah? So this is just a start, and we should not confuse the mission with the journey. So you can go on the journey, decide, okay, I'm going to change my job or whatever, I'm going to found a company, and maybe you figure out that this was actually the wrong decision, and that's totally normal. Yeah? So beware of that, but it makes sense anyways, because you know why you're doing the things that you do. And yeah, the clearer you define your mission, the easier for you it will also be to define if the decisions that you make are actually according to your own values. Yes, it's not easy, but it's worth it. And I would also suggest, I mentioned my own mission before, it always sounds great, and you can change the world. And yes, you can, but in the end, it's worth it to stay humble as well with yourself. Yeah? There's billions of people out there, and we make our part, but it doesn't have to be like us saving the world. Yeah? And that's good for psychological hygiene as well, to remind oneself of that. And as I mentioned before as well, starting is the most important. So think about your mission, and then afterwards, you will also begin making decisions based on that. Now, I talk a lot about business and entrepreneurship and so on, because this is part of my mission, but of course, this is not the only way. Yeah? So there are many different pathways. You can decide what professional pathway you want to go that is according to your mission. You can go into science, you can go into politics, which is, I think, something that actually is underestimated, yeah, or in high need, yeah, because everything that I just said is based on the assumption that we are a free and liberal democracy, and we all know that right now this is at stake. So I think it would be a very good way of identifying your mission if you say, okay, I want to make sure that this stays in the future as well. So, last thing, it's all about starting. That's what I said. So I would like you to take your phone, yeah? Go into the reminder, yeah? Take it out. You can take a look. Choose the reminder function, and today you're probably going to be inspired by many speeches, and people are, giving you insights and so on and so forth. And then you may forget about the guy in the morning who told you something about mission identification. Yeah, it's fine. I can live with that. But if you don't look at the notifications. Yeah, go into the reminder function and set yourself a reminder for tomorrow morning to think about your mission. Yeah, you can ignore it tomorrow, then it's okay. But maybe you won't, and maybe you will actually start thinking about it into the first step. And this is something that I would very much like. And in the end, I would leave you with a quote from Carl Jung, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. And I would add to that, let's look inside to make our dreams a reality. And that's very deep, so I finish with something else. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. And I will also share a few tips and insights regarding how to identify your mission in my feed. And I thank you very much for listening to this idea and hope you will identify your mission as well. Thank you.
It's time to wake up.